Okay, yeah. Yeah, like I said, we need to take advantage of these kids. Also, I have another job for you. Really need to get on this guy. He's gotta die of me. Hi! Welcome to Marvel Minute. My name is, Jacob Harris, and, you don't need to look at that. My name is Jacob Harris, and the guy behind the camera is Morgan Bart.
Wait, that's my name on that tissue paper, Jacob.
Bart!
Ah!
Keep the camera still. Anyhow, continuing with our little intermission, as you can see, our location has kind of changed. We're not on couches anymore now. It's just personal time. I have no friends. So, what we're going to do is just have a little one-on-one time, right? You, me, and Bart. Shut up!
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so now, going from that portion, we're going to move on to talking about the character. Bart, if you will take the camera.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you understand?
I'm okay.
Are you getting all this?
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Bart! So today, what we're going to talk about is Kang the Conqueror. That's spelled correctly, right, Bart? Hey. Camera's on me. You understand? The camera needs to be on me. I'm the center of attention.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So Kang the Conqueror, he's an interesting little fellow. We've been introduced to him through Loki. I don't know if you guys have watched that yet, but Loki is a really good Disney Plus series. You should watch it. When Sylvie, the variant of Loki, variants are offshoots of the originals. So when Loki and Sylvia go to the Citadel out of time because they're out of the time stream, because they're both variants. They're not supposed to do what they were supposed to do. And then they go to the Citadel of Time, and Sylvie makes a really stupid choice and kills this guy called He Who Remains. And He Who Remains is one of the variants of Kang the Conqueror. He basically made the timeline so perfect to where there would be no other variants of himself, because if there were variants of himself that branched out, then there would be multiversal chaos. A war would ensue where Kang would battle himself. And then it almost got destroyed till He Who Remains devised a plan to take all the variants out of the timeline, thus erasing it from the branch, then making him the only true Kang. But Sylvie killed He Who Remains, and then what happened was that all of the time streams started excluding out of itself and creating new timelines. Because then what happens is that the TVA, the people who get all the variants out of the time stream, are then ruled now by Kang. So, a little history lesson about the comics about Kang. A child from the 31st century called Nathaniel Richards can't rule in this timeline. So what he does is that he goes back in time to Egypt. And what happens is that he forms a new alias called Ramatut, is just your average pharaoh. What happens is that Ramatut travels back in time with his Sphinx to Egypt, where the Fantastic Four meet him, and of course he flees the scene. And that's a variant of Kang that still survives to this day. The thing about Kang that makes him so interesting is that all his personas that he creates are in itself his own characters. So he went to Egypt, and then there's modern time Immortus. Now this is another branch from going to Ramatut to Immortus. And he just kind of shows up whenever he wants to. He helped form the Masters of Evil and so on and so forth. Now, the Masters of Evil are just your average come-of-the-mill evil group that comes and fights the Avengers. But what makes Immortus so important is that he's a variant of Kang. And multiple theories have been spewed that in Loki, He Who Remains is Immortus. And I would like to confirm that. I feel like it is. Because there's no variant in the comics who is called He Who Remains. There's a character called He Who Remains, but it has no reference to Kang. But it is Kang. So, then there's Immortus, and then Immortus eventually becomes Kang the Conqueror. Now, Kang the Conqueror, what happens from Nathaniel Franklin to Kang the Conqueror is he takes a timeline where Dr. Doom takes over the entire Earth and then kills Dr. Doom and takes the throne from him. And there have been multiple like comics like Savage Avengers, which is a comic I sorely recommend. It's like Conan the Barbarian meets the Avengers. It's awesome. So what happens is that Kang has his own citadel of time in the comics as well, and it's where he's basically killed everybody and keeps the remains in his like little man cave, and it's hilarious because like Conan and him like kind of geek out. It's awesome. So Kang then goes up against the Avengers, so on and so forth. There are multiple storylines like the multiversal war that I mentioned before. So Kang the Conqueror is just an interesting villain in general. His history is way complicated, so probably explaining this, you're a little bit lost. I'll do a little quick recap, but I really love Kang the Conqueror because he's just a time-traveling nuisance. And like wherever there's time to make trouble, he just does it. And there have been literal stories where he wipes the entirety of the Avengers off like the universal map. And it's really interesting. And he's going to be coming to Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Now, I have seen rumors that he's definitely going to show up in it, but it's not going to be Kang the Conqueror. What I'm most likely thinking is it's probably going to be another variant of Kang. That's what they've said. And he's probably going to die in this, but he's already been listed for 4 other movies, so I think he's pretty safe. And the cast of Loki, they're doing a season 2, which I'm really happy about because I really like the end of season 1. I didn't like the entire series, but I definitely like the ending. I rewatch it almost every time. He also kind of rules over the TVA, or more specifically, Immortus does. Immortus rules over the TVA, which further leads me to suspect he's He Who Remains. Timekeepers rule over the TVA, Immortus rules over Timekeepers and the TVA in order to keep the branches from expending, but there's a storyline called Avengers Forever. It's really interesting, really thought through, and then they're also coming out with Kang's own story. It's Avengers Kang Dynasty. It's coming 2005, I believe. You can edit me if I'm wrong, but it's also going to come alongside Avengers Secret Wars, so it leads me to believe either this is going to be Kang's last appearance or it's going to travel to Secret Wars where Doom and him team up to basically kill all the Avengers. But that's my theory, and that's the explanation of the character as thoroughly as I can get. And, I almost forgot. Kang has a everlasting love called Ravonna Ravenslayer. She's also in Loki. She's a very interesting character. In the comics, she kind of just leads Kang on, but also is not interested in him. And in a new rendition of his origin story, Ravonna actually loved Kang until he made her an everlasting constant within Kang's life, making her hate him forever, because she just wanted to die and leave a well life until Kang brought her back into existence. So that is the explanation of Kang the Conqueror, and if y'all enjoyed this, like the video, and maybe subscribe to whatever channel this goes on. If you want more Jacob content like this, you should subscribe and like the video. Maybe we might cover something, like The Boys, or Homelander, or something like that.
Jacob, please.